Hello everyone and welcome to Arknights from Text to Tale. In this episode, we're going to cover episode 5 of the main theme, Necessary Solutions. Let's begin. The first scene we see is inside of Chan's nightmare. In it, we hear a girl talking with her, saying they will always be together and help each other. Then we hear an unknown voice asking questions, mentioning the girl being taken away by an old duke and what or who is Wei Yanwu going to sacrifice this time. Chen is then promptly woken up by Swire, a feline high-ranking officer of the L.G.D. The Lung has trouble with waking, so she pours a cup of water over her head. Hoshiguma walks into the room and Chen is briefed as to what happened. Her L.G.D squad retreated to Lungmen roughly 45 minutes ago, but was ambushed and a blast to her head knocked Chen out, so she was brought to a Rhodes Island cabin in Lungmen harbor. Swire then reports on the recent turn of events. Her squad teamed up with Rhodes Island to clear out the way, so Chen's squad members are mostly fine. Lungmen's situation, however, is looking grim. The city is being taken over by Reunion, citizens are being evacuated, and the L.G.D headquarters have been taken over. The plan, presented by Swire, is to gather the remaining L.G.D forces and route the Reunion troops from the rally point into the city center where they will be sieged. Chen starts arguing with her about the chosen strategy, having doubts about its effectiveness. Swire also brings up how the Lung officer was absent when Lungmen was attacked, and that the responsibility for the current situation lies with her, and she should resign because of that mistake. The argument is rather heated, and it is clear there is some bad blood between the two. Swire then leaves angrily to attend her mission with her squad. Chen notices her back is wounded, and Hoshiguma explains a Reunion caster got a hit on her when she was carrying Chen to the cabin. Hoshiguma asks Chen to try and be nicer to her and stop acting like arch enemies once in a while. The Lung simply admits that she should do that. The conversation then shifts to how Chen is starting to talk like a politician and that she really needs some vacations. The light-hearted holiday plans are, however, interrupted by a confidential call made to the Lung. Her informant was ambushed in a warehouse by some Reunion troops, is heavily wounded and has some crucial intelligence to hand over. She readies to immediately head out to his rescue. Rhodes Island forces from the cabin go with her as they are in pretty good shape. Reunion mostly gave up on attacking their facilities due to how many defeats they suffered at their hand by now. On the way there, Chen briefly talks with the Rhodes Island operator leading his forces about Reunion. He then realizes that she went to the sub-city with Dr. and Amiya and wonders how come she's already back, but they aren't. Chen apologizes and reveals she prioritized Lungmen's safety and retreated without them, making them effectively missing in action. The operator is appalled by this news and doesn't want to help her anymore, retreating back to the cabin with his forces. Chen doesn't take offense, understanding his anger, so she has no excuses. Hoshiguma wonders if she did it because Wei Yanwu ordered her to do so. The Lung answers that it's confidential. She is free to speculate and adds that while she appreciates what Wei does, she will never respect him due to some decisions he makes. Chen then contacts Swire, and while they're still snarky to each other, it turns out their heated argument from before was exaggerated so that Rhodes Island would help them. She tells Swire that she can commence her mission, though they both don't know what their respective missions are about. She then heads to the warehouse. The squad reaches its vicinity quickly, and Hoshiguma asks Chen if Fall, a friend of her that she's known for 10 years, is her informant, as she accidentally heard his voice on the call before. Chen confirms her suspicions. He got infected a year ago and has infiltrated the Reunion ranks to gather intelligence. In response, the Oni offers to clear out the Reunion forces around the warehouse by herself, and if she doesn't manage to do it in under 3 minutes, the rest of L.G.D will come to support her. She believes this will be the fastest way. Chen is hesitant to let her, as it's risky, but eventually agrees. Hoshiguma goes all out and clears the area in 2.5 minutes. They enter the warehouse, but it's already too late. Fall is blinded and mortally wounded and cannot be saved. As he is dying, he gives Chen the concealed documents from his infiltration. After that, he talks with her briefly, asking her to keep an eye on Hoshiguma, acknowledging she is strong but still has her limits and may be insulted and discriminated against because of her background. They then talk a bit about Lungmen and telepathy, Fall being glad he could be of some help. He then realizes Hoshiguma is also present, referring to her as boss. The way he talks to her implies they were once a part of a gang, with Hoshiguma being the leader. He says he and other members always admired her, despite also being afraid, and asks her to bury him in their old hideout. With this, he passes away. The L.G.D uses the intelligence retrieved from Fall to plan their next move. They reach one of Reunion's bases in Lungmen, this one being a central hub for them. It is located in a wealthy residential district. The intel also mentions that Reunion is secretly looking for an extremely high-value target. This makes Chen and Hoshiguma wonder what they're doing here, since this area has been long evacuated. The squad sneaks closer, keeping low profile, but Reunion suddenly blasts open an entrance into one of the houses. The L.G.D doesn't risk their target being there and taken by Reunion, so they attack them immediately. The Lungmen's forces are quickly defeated, and Chen realizes the house they're trying to break into is her family house. As it turns out, Chen's relationship with her father is very bad. She has nothing but disdain for him, and he never loved her. After she went to college in Victoria, she never came back to this house. She became an L.G.D officer after moving back to Lungmen and started living separately. It is also revealed that Chen, as well as Wei Yanwu, are from aristocratic families. The Lung says she has no lingering attachments to this place, but is quickly deep in thought and getting sentimental, so Hoshiguma gives her a moment and waits for her outside. Chen enters her room, kept very orderly. She notices the picture from her childhood, a picture of her and Tallulah. She wonders if that's what Reunion was looking for here, and if Tallulah also lost her marbles. She then leaves the house in a slightly better mood and orders the continuation of the mission. Her forces move to Patsy Plaza, a Lungmen shopping mall owned by Swire's family. It is currently taken over by Reunion. We can see a brief conversation between two of its members. They are suspicious of how the Lungmen operation has been going so far. They haven't really seen their enemies being pushed out, struggling or running. Instead, most of them simply retreated or weren't there, and they haven't met much resistance. Most places have also been cleared of valuable things preemptively. We also get a small lore snippet that while Patriot prohibits robbing and pillaging local businesses, Mephisto doesn't care what his underlings do. Their conversation is interrupted by a raid by Chen's forces. Reunion troops are defeated, though not without damage to the mall, a fact Swire is not very happy about on the radio. L.G.D reorganizes, and in the meantime Chen and Hoshiguma have a light-hearted conversation between issuing orders. We're talking about their hobbies. Chen likes fashion, while Hoshiguma likes motorbikes. Suddenly, one of the defeated Reunion casters activates bombs beneath Chen with the last of her strength, making the Lung fall from the mall's 3rd floor. Hoshiguma jumps after her and shields her from the falling debris, but is heavily injured in the process. The remaining Reunion forces emerge and surround them. The Oni insists on staying behind and fighting them here, while Chen rendezvous with the rest of her squads and continues the mission as soon as possible, but Chen disagrees, which greatly surprises Hoshiguma. Chen smiles and shows her softer side, saying Hoshi is her friend and how the recent events and what she did to Amiya changed her. She has fewer grievances now and finds it easier to trust people. She then says to let her be Hoshiguma's shield for once instead of the other way around. After defeating the Reunion forces, she calls for medics to come aid Hoshiguma and continues the mission. Once she gets close to the L.G.D HQ, she meets up with the 4th Mobile Squad of L.G.D, a squad of elite officers specifically chosen to accompany Chen when retrieving the headquarters building. She gives them a short motivational speech to boost morale and orders them to move in. Inside the HQ, something seems off. The groups infiltrating it barely meet any resistance. In fact, the first Reunion sightings only start at 6th floor. Chen is wary of a possible trap, but decides to carry on to the roof through the fire escape route, where, according to the reports, the enemy commander set up a temporary outpost. She then orders most of the squad to stay on the top floor and control it, while she goes directly to the roof. When she gets there, Mephisto is already waiting for her with his troops. Chen takes them out quickly and charges straight for the Union commander, but is stopped in her tracks by Faust, who fires a warning shot right next to her. Mephisto says that if she leaves now, they will spare her. Chen recognizes Faust as one of the infected that were held and interrogated by L.G.D. She also reveals that from those infected, several were planted by her so that in case Reunion frees them, they can infiltrate her ranks. She then readies to take out Mephisto, seeing as all his troops but Faust are down and he has nowhere to run. But the boy uses the true potential of his arts to revive the fallen Reunion members, making the Originium in their bodies rapidly grow and overtake them, turning them into mindless slaves with insane regenerative abilities and resistance to physical damage. The Reunion commander is surprised by an unexpected phenomenon. The dust he uses to activate his arts stick only to the bodies of infected, and it's stuck to Chen. Mephisto's herd charges at the L.G.D troops present on the roof, while his guards block any attacks towards him with their own flesh. Chen charges at him but is also blocked by the guards and shot at by Faust, though she deflects it with her sword. Mephisto notes she is never using the other sword she has, to which she replies it's only meant for those worthy. A flashback of Wei Yanwu giving it to her and saying that plays out. In it, Chen asks if he is not afraid to give it to her in case she turns against him one day, to which he replies he doesn't fear death. While Chen says Mephisto is not worthy of Tiziao, the sword, the truth is she is actually unable to unsheath it at will. The Lung continues to try and put pressure on Mephisto, but is constantly getting blocked, so she unleashes her arts, cutting through Faust's bolt, one of Mephisto's guard's neck, and almost reaching the commander himself. Unfortunately, the surprise won't work twice, and Mephisto is still out of her reach. Suddenly, a bolt is launched from another side of the roof from where Faust is, and Chen just barely manages to avoid getting hit, wondering how he did that. She's running out of options, and her troops are getting pushed back, so she puts it all on unleashing Tiziao. Unfortunately, she loses control of it, and the casting of her arts fails. Faust and Mephisto immediately try to push her, but the dispersion from Tiziao is able to block the attack and kill some guards in the process. However, the situation is still looking bad for our heroine. Mephisto realizes she can't unsheath the sword and tries to convince her to join Reunion, saying she's already plenty disappointed in Lungmen and Tallulah is waiting for her, but she stalwartly refuses. Mephisto and Faust are ready to finish the fight, but are interrupted by an aircraft suddenly flying close to the roof. From it, Blaze, an elite operator from Rhodes Island, and Amiya on her back jump out. Blaze uses her arts to blow up the roof and make most of Mephisto's herd fall down. A short flashback is shown of Blaze, Amiya and Doctor flying there with Blaze scoffing at helping Chen, since she abandoned them in the Chernobog subsidy. Doctor and Amiya convince her to help though. Swire contacts Chen to say Rhodes Island is arriving after the fact and reveals her mission was coordinating with them all along. Doctor takes immediate command of the battlefield and Mephisto is being pushed back. Blaze unleashes her boiling blood arts to reveal hidden snipers, members of the Phantom Crossbowmen squad led by Faust, ruining their element of surprise, while Amiya is using her arts to temporarily suppress Mephisto's guards. Faust orders a retreat to his squad and brings Mephisto with him, despite his tantrums over how backup was supposed to show up and rejecting his defeat. Chen once again tries to unleash Tiziao, and this time she succeeds and kills the remaining guards with a singular slash. As they fall to the ground, they thank them for setting them free from Mephisto's cruel arts. She then attacks and wounds Faust, but he shoots point blank to blast her back and detonates explosives in the HQ, making it crumble and fall. As Faust and Mephisto are running away, Mephisto is in total denial over how they lost, wondering if Tallulah set them up, since in his mind, she would never make a strategical mistake like that. Once the battle is over, Blaze confronts Chen about abandoning Doctor and Amiya in the Sub-City ruins. Chen has no excuses and simply accepts the critique. At that moment, she is contacted by Wei Yanwu. It turns out, all the current missions have been executed flawlessly, everything went according to plan. Wei Yanwu apologizes to Amiya for the recent events, but believing his choice was the right move. As it turns out, he has orchestrated the entire operation a long time ago. He made preparations right after the Chernobog uprising. He used Rhodes Island being sent to the sub-city to make Reunion think Lungmen was left undefended, but hid most of L.G.D forces to ambush them. While he did send Swire and her squad to retrieve Amiya and Doctor, it was still very dangerous for them, and they barely made it out alive. Wei Yanwu once again says the contract still stands and that it's better to be wary of each other. He plans a counterattack next, hoping to see Rhodes Island's professionalism, resolve and bravery in it. Amiya simply answers that she hopes he won't forget what he just said, because they certainly won't. She then asks if Chen wants a physical exam done by RI medics, but she refuses. The scene moves to Wei's office, where he is being contacted by Swire. Some mysterious third party is seemingly threatening to do something if they can't handle the Reunion threat in Lungmen within 2 days. Wei orders Swire to take care of it in 1 day, without Rhodes Island's help, to demonstrate Lungmen's strength. He also issues the order to Chen, who asks him a question, hoping that if not now, he can answer her after the crisis has been dealt with. If this is supposed to be Reunion's all-out attack, why has Tallulah not appeared so far? After the call is over, Wei is left deep in thought, which is interrupted by Fumizuki, his wife, entering the office. The Lungmen chief has been trying to contact Ursus about the current situation, but has been met with silence, and his messenger can't reach Speaker Vit, who they usually negotiate with. The leader is anxious this crisis might be more than meets the eye, fearing it may even be a ploy planned by the Empire to increase its hegemony. Fumizuki mentions the last time he said something similar was 20 years ago, when someone known as Duke of Kashi threatened the city with being taken by Ursus. She then brings up how Tallulah reminds them of the Duke, to which Wei answers that he's already dead, killed by Tallulah herself. Alright, this marks the end of episode 5. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, I'd appreciate a like or a subscription. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!